It is our pleasure to share with you this Economics 101 on the foreign exchange rate. We hope that this short audio-visual presentation on exchange rate and foreign exchange market will help broaden theoretical understanding of these topics and thus better appreciate recent developments in the foreign exchange market. What is the exchange rate? The exchange rate is the price of a unit of foreign currency in terms of the domestic currency. In every exchange rate quotation, there are always two currencies involved. In the Philippines, for instance, the exchange rate is conventionally expressed as the value of $1 in peso equivalent. For example, $1 is equal to 44 pesos. Please note that while we will be talking of the exchange rate of the peso against the US dollar in this presentation, it could be any other currencies. For example, 1 Japanese yen is equal to 41 centavos. Why is the exchange rate important? The exchange rate is important for several reasons. First, it serves as the basic link between the local and the overseas markets for various goods, services and financial assets. It allows the comparison of the prices of goods and services quoted in different currencies. Second, exchange rate movements can affect actual inflation as well as expectations about future price movements. Changes in the exchange rate tend to directly affect domestic prices of imported goods and services and indirectly through the prices of goods and services that use imported inputs. Third, through its impact on inflation, exchange rate movements can also affect the external price competitiveness of the country's goods and services. Finally, the exchange rate affects the cost of servicing principal and interest payments on the country's foreign debt. A peso appreciation reduces the amount of pesos needed to buy foreign exchange to pay interest and maturing obligations. Regular trading of foreign exchange is conducted in the foreign exchange market, which consists of market players, who buy and sell foreign exchange. In the foreign exchange market, the US dollar is regarded as a commodity that is bought and sold in the market. This means that just like any commodity, the price of the US dollar is determined by the demand and supply factors in the foreign exchange market. In the Philippines, foreign exchange market players consist of commercial banks and the central bank. Banks trade foreign exchange using an electronic trading platform called the Philippine Dealing and Exchange Corporation. What is the role of the BSP in the foreign exchange market? The BSP maintains a floating exchange rate system, whereby exchange rates are determined on the basis of supply and demand in the foreign exchange market. The BSP is also responsible for ensuring the proper and orderly functioning of the foreign exchange market. Thus, the BSP participates by buying and selling foreign exchange in their foreign exchange market to ensure orderly conditions and temper destabilizing swings in the exchange rate. Like most countries in today's globalized environment, the Philippines follows a market-determined foreign exchange policy. Under a market-determined exchange rate framework, the BSP does not set the foreign exchange rate, but instead, allows the value of the peso to be determined by the supply and demand of foreign exchange. In other words, the BSP does not target any specific exchange rate, but instead, allows the market forces to determine the exchange rate. Meanwhile, BSP's participation in the foreign exchange market, by either buying or selling dollars, is limited only to ensuring orderly conditions and avoiding unnecessary swings in the exchange rate. Thus, if the supply of US dollars is much more than the demand, the value of the dollar will drop in peso terms. This happens, for instance, when overseas Filipinos send more dollars to their families before Christmas, who in turn exchange their dollars to pesos for their shopping expenses. On the other hand, if many corporations simultaneously buy dollars to pay for their imports when dollar supply is low, the value of the dollar will rise versus the pesos. What are the factors that affect the exchange rate? The exchange rate that results from the interplay of demand and supply factors in the foreign exchange market is the nominal bilateral exchange rate. In the Philippines, this is the BSP's reference exchange rate, or the exchange rate of the peso vis-à-vis the dollar at the beginning of the trading day. This represents the weighted average of all done deals at the PDEX during the preceding day. Some of the supply factors which influence the exchange rate are receipts from exports of goods and services, remittances, and inflows from foreign loans and investments. Meanwhile, the demand factors include payments for imports of goods and services, servicing of foreign loans, and outward foreign investments. Since exchange rate is an asset price, it is also affected or rapidly adjusts to perception or news. Perception could be affected by changes in macroeconomic fundamentals, as well as political developments. This ends the presentation on foreign exchange and foreign exchange market. Thank you for your kind attention.